Hello, I am trying something new. Not really, but for the month of June, like I feel like every month I'm gonna do a reading wrap up, but I've noticed like once I get to the end of the month, I'm like I kind of forgot what I just read. So I'm gonna try to do like a update every time I finish a book, so like it's like fresh in my mind, and I can give a better little summary of what I just read. And it's been like a week and a half since I finished this, but I haven't had time to like just sit down and talk about it. So I have some time right now, and I just wanted to chill and talk about this book. And yeah, this is a first book I've read. Oh, by the way, I moved to New York for the summer. I don't know if I said, I mean, there might be a vlog, but if I don't edit that, then this is me telling you. But I haven't been reading a lot this month just because like I just moved here, and it's like I have so much to do and explore, and I also have work and school, so it's gonna be a very low amount of reading, but as long as I keep reading, it's okay. So the first book I read was On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong, and I bought this at the New York Public Library, so it's super cool. When I was paying, they put like a little stamp on the book page, so it's like really cool. So I low-key want to go back and buy another book just to like put a little stamp because it's really cool. And literally, you know, I have like all these tabs, so that means I love the book. If I have a lot of tabs, it means I love a book. And last video, somebody commented that my tabs scare them because they were like sticking out. So if you are watching this, I hope this is better. I hope I did better for you. This book was literally so gorgeous. Anyways, it was so gorgeous. Like the writing was so pretty. It's hard to describe. Writing is just gorgeous. And I love quotes. Like give me a good quote and I die. I just love good quotes, and this is full of them. But that doesn't mean like there's no story. There's still a story. It's kind of written like in letters to his mom, but his mom can't read, so it's kind of like I feel like it's just him getting everything he wants to say to her out. But it's hard to describe. I mean, I'm just stupid, so maybe it's not hard to describe, but I feel like this is a book you just have to go into without knowing anything and just see where it goes. And this is a good book to annotate, and I feel like it was like the perfect book for me to read as the first book in New York, because it's like, that's so cheesy, but wait, the title's like On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, and like that's how I feel about this time I have in New York. Like this summer is like a brief period, and I'm gonna make so many like memories. I literally do it every single day here. I'm like walking and I'm listening to fucking Harry Styles, and I'm like, damn, I'm in New York. Just romanticize your life. That was a horrible description, but I rated it 5 stars because it made me cry and has pretty quotes, and a good cry is an automatic 5 stars. There's a lot of scenes and lines that are gonna be like, don't read this in public because you're gonna start crying. But yeah, I'll read like a quote to give you a feel of like the writing style. One of my favorite booktubers, Jack Edwards, does that, and it like convinces me to read some books sometimes, so I want to do that. Let me look for a quote because this is difficult. They're all good. I'm thinking of beauty again, how some things are hunted because we have deemed them beautiful. If relative to the history of our planet, an individual life is so short, a blink of an eye, as they say, then to be gorgeous, even from the day you're born to the day you die, is to be gorgeous only briefly. Like, come on. Highly recommend. And then the next book I read was for class. It's called Here's New York by E.B. White, but I know it's for class, but I'm still counting it because I read it. But it was literally just like a little like 60-70 pages of New York and like a little description of it, like a little short read. Like 3.5 stars because like I can't get attached to a short thing, but it's pretty writing. So yeah, that was my 2 reads, and I'll come back with whatever else I read next. Hey guys, it is literally like June 29th. I read 2 more books and I didn't update, so I'm gonna do a little update. Literally there's like 2 days left of June and I don't know if I should try to finish another book. I still have this book I need to finish. I just can't finish it. I don't know why. Like, I can't get into it. I can't, like, get enthralled, you know? You think I can? I feel like I can finish this in 2 days, but I don't want to. Also, update. Literally water damage. It's because I went, like, boating in Central Park, and I had this book in my tote bag, and I put my tote bag on the bottom of the boat, and I didn't know like water was coming in, so my fucking tote bag all wet and my book. Okay, I'm gonna try to get through this and I'll add it. I don't know why I gave you a long rant about that book. Anyways, I was going through like a really long slump, but I got COVID. So fun. But I got COVID last week, so I was in quarantine, and I brought some books to my quarantine room just in case inspiration struck, and it did. And Where the Crawdads Sing was my first read out of my slump, and it really helped. It really helped pull me out of the trenches of a slump. I literally had not read for a long time, and I was like, who am I? Who am I? What have I become? But Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens, I'm not gonna lie, I did just read it because the movie's coming out and Taylor Swift has a song for the movie. And yes, I did replay Carolina over and over again while I read this book. And I sat on my little window. I sat on the window looking at New York City, and it was just a vibe. It was just a vibe while Carolina played. And you know what? Romanticizing your life like that is so fun. I've been doing it, and it's so fun. This book is about Kaya Clark. She is set in North Carolina, and she has a very damaged family. She lives like in the marsh, so kind of like, I guess like the outskirts of her little town. Like they're poor, and the dad's abusive, and there's like 5 kids, and one day the mom leaves. By the time she's 6, like all of her siblings have just left, like because of the dad's abusive, so they like try to leave and they don't take Kaya with her. So when she's 6, Kaya's left alone with her abusive father, and it's kind of like we see Kaya growing up by herself basically, because she doesn't go to school. She tries to go one day, but then people laugh at her because she can't spell dog, so she never goes back. And it's just like insane. Like Kaya literally she can't read, she can't like but she knows everything about like nature because she's always outside, and she just learns how to like fend for herself, and like how to cook, how to get money to get more food and like basic necessities. And she does that like from the age of 6, and then we see her growing up, and it's just crazy. It's like a coming of age novel, and there's a bit of a romance, which I enjoyed because romance always stirs the pot for me. It always makes me more interested. There's this guy named Tate, and one day he comes to the marsh in his little boat, and him and Kaya have this little friendship going on. I really liked Kaya's character because, you know, she's grown up. You know, everyone's left her. Like, her whole family's left her. Her mom, her siblings, her dad. Like, everyone's left her. How do you start getting comfortable to be in a relationship knowing everyone else has left you? How do you like comfortably get into a relationship with the knowledge that your whole family's left you? Like the word for isolation, that's Kaya. She's isolated, she's lonely, and it's just crazy to see how she's like a coming of age novel. And I read that while I was in quarantine, so I was like, I'm isolated right now. But anyways, and there's also, it's a coming of age novel, but it's also a murder mystery novel. So it's like there's a bunch of like flashbacks and flashback and forths as like the crime is being talked about and like how it's going to be solved. So I don't want to get much into that because that's a big part of the book, but it's really cool how it's like coming of age and murder mystery, but more coming of age, I think. But yeah, I rated this like 4 stars because I didn't cry, so can't get the 5 stars, but it was really good and got some good quotes, as you can see, good tabbing. And then right after that, the next day after, I started reading Misery by Stephen King, and I started this 3 days ago and I finished it today. And this is the book I was reading while I was going on my little walks. I would go on my walk and then sit on these little benches that overlook like the Manhattan skyline, and I have been going the past 3 days at like sunset, and it's been really nice just like sitting there and then like reading my book, and then I'll like look up and I'm like, whoa, and then read again. It's been really fun. This book is fucking insane. Like I was so into it. I was so like, oh my god, like what? Like this is very much psychological thriller, and I love psychological thriller over like gory stuff because it gets in your head. It's like, what the fuck? And also what was bad was like I finished reading this tonight at like 10 p.m. outside when I was sitting on my little bench because I was like, I didn't mean to finish it, but I was like, oh my god, like I can't move until I finish this. And then it was like 10 p.m. and I had to come back home, and it was dark, and I had just finished reading this book, and I was like very scared. I was very anxious the whole time. Like when I got inside, I realized I was like shaking a little bit, and I was like, girl, don't read outside by yourself in the dark. But anyways, this book it's about, there's this famous author named Paul. He's known for this series. It's called the Misery series, and he ends it by killing off the character called the Misery, because he hates the series because that's what he's known for. And he's like, in his head, he's like, I have all these other books, but everyone only wants the Misery series. So he killed off the Misery character, and it's kind of like the premise of the story. But then one day he's driving and he's a little drunk and he crashes his car, and then he wakes up in a house and he's like, what the fuck? And then we see he's been kidnapped by this psychopath named Annie Wilkes. So basically she pulled him out of the car after he crashed, and she like did surgery on his legs. She like medicates him and like has like a little sick bed for him in her room, but she didn't save him. She's kidnapped him because she wants this book, or she wants Paul to rewrite another book, but she wants Misery back in the series because she loves the character. She's basically this like crazy fan of Paul, but she's taking Stan to a whole nother level. She's kidnapped him, forcing him to write a book, and she has like mental problems. So that's a really like scary part of it, because it's like you don't know what she's gonna do. Like it's unpredictable because she's not right in the head. So yeah, it's very scary. It's very on the edge, and Stephen King is so good at, like, you feel like you're Paul. Like you feel like you're on that bed watching Annie threaten you. I'm not gonna say with what, 'cause it's okay. I'm gonna do a little spoiler part, so you can skip to this. But basically there's one part where I forgot what he does, but Annie catches, like, Annie has noticed that Paul has left the room while she's gone, so she cuts his foot off with an axe, and then she burns the little stump. And reading it, it's like, oh, what? And then there's this other part that was crazy. There's a cop that comes by because they're like, Paul, this famous author Paul is missing. Have you seen him? But then Paul sees this and he's like, oh my god, a cop! It's my chance to escape. So he throws like an ash thing, like I guess like a thing where you put the cigarette stumps. He throws that through the window, and then that catches the attention of the cop, and he's like, oh shit, that's Paul. And he's like goes, but then Annie sees all this happen because she's like talking to him. So she kills the cop. But you know how she killed him? She has like this cross or something, and she's actually stabbing him with a cross, like on his back and everything. And then she goes inside or something, and we think the cop is dead, but then his eyes open and Paul's like, oh my god. But then no, Annie comes back, but this time she's on top of a lawnmower. She runs the cop over while he's on the floor with the lawnmower, like his head. Like, I was reading this on the bench and I was like, oh, no. And I literally had to put the book down after the scene, because I was like, I can't just go on to the next scene, like, after reading that. Like, that was crazy. And feel like you're in the scene and in the moment, and it's just very much like, what is gonna happen next, because Annie is unpredictable with her mood swings, and she gets like a depressive episodes where she just goes off the rails. And that's when Paul's like, now I should be scared. Like, now when she's in this mood, I should be scared, and you're scared too as the reader. It's very good. I recommend this if you're into, I don't know, I'm barely starting to read horror, but I'm really liking it, because it's like yeah, when I watch horror movies I'm scared, like I like jump scare, but when you read horror, it's like you're scared after, because it's like in your head. I don't know how to describe it, but it's been really cool. I want to read more horror or Stephen King. But also I want to talk about this one detail that I was like, so cool. The book shows like parts of the book Paul is writing, and it's like a different font, but the typewriter Annie buys for Paul is missing an N, so he has to go manually like with a pen draw in the N. And it's just really cool how like here you can see like every N is like a different font from the typewriter font, and it's just like a really cool detail, you know, that every N here is a different font because Paul is like writing it in with a pen. So it's like, you see, like really good at setting the scene and like you're in the book. But yeah, that was like a 4.75. Very good. Also one more thing, there's one part where Paul, like 2 more letters come off of the typewriter, so Paul's just like, whatever, I'm just gonna write by hand, and the font switches again to be like cursive, or not cursive but like handwriting. So yeah, very cool details. Hey Slayers, it is the last day of June and I finished one more book, but guess what, it was not The Paris Apartment. I didn't feel like reading it, and I saw my Amazon account, I have like Prime, and I got an email and it was like, you have 2 free audiobooks from Audible. So I was like, So I got the audiobook for The Summer I Turned Pretty, and I listened to that yesterday and today, and that was my last book of June. So yeah, I got another book in, but it wasn't the one I was thinking it was gonna be, but that one was still let's talk about the book a little bit. I give it 3 stars because it is very, very preteen, I think. Like Belly, she's like 15. She's so infuriating. She's such a pick-me. She's literally so like, you wouldn't want her as your best friend. You see, like, yeah, I know her best friend Taylor is also like not a good character, but the way Belly talks about Taylor, like, she's like, Taylor's so pasty, I'm tan. Like, why would you talk about your friend like that? Like what about women support women? No, no. Belly is very much like, I'm better than everyone, or like, but she's like, she does it in a way where she's like, I'm so like not like other girls, and guys don't look at me, they look at Taylor. But why do they look at Taylor? Because I'm that's better. And it's like, Belly, shut up. That's like the main reason I hate her, because of the way she talks about like Taylor. And also she's like, ooh, Conrad is playing games with me, and then she's like dating Cameron just so that just to get Conrad's attention. It's like, that's so evil, first of all, and then also you also want Jeremiah. So it's like, girl, you're the villain. And it's like, I feel like there's so much substance lacking in the book, it's like I don't get it doesn't get across why Belly's so in love with Conrad. Like the whole time it's just like, I've loved him my whole life. For me it's like, why I need to know. I need substance. It's like everything's like a half out idea, and it's not like fleshed out to me. And that's why I was like, when I was listening to the audiobook at the end, I literally just put it on 2x speed. I was like, I want this over already. Like I can't stand Belly, and these characters have no this like the motive behind everything is not like half. There's like nothing to me. Like I don't care. And Belly is so frustrating. She's annoying. She's so self-centered. Everything is about her. I know she's a main character, but girl. And then there's one time where she like dares Cameron to like go skinny dipping with her, and then he's like skeptical about it, and he says no. And then in her mind she's like, is he gay? Like, Belly, hello? Like, girl. Like, nah, everyone's head over heels for you. You're such a pick-me. But yeah, I did in fact watch Summer I Turned Pretty on Amazon series, and I know you're supposed to say the book was better, but in this case, I feel like the series did a better job of fleshing out the characters. Like I could, like in the series, it was like understandable to me. It was more understandable to me why Conrad was like broody, and in the book, like I don't know, it just didn't get across. I feel like the show showing the mom side really helped like get more substance. But yeah, in both, Belly is still like the villain. I just don't like her. And yeah, I also really liked the show just because of the soundtrack. I didn't really like the show, but I liked the show mostly because of the soundtrack. Like Taylor Swift and Phoebe Bridgers. Like, come on. But yeah, that was my little rant about the Summer I Turned Pretty book. It's just like, it's just lacking in substance for me. And that's all I can really say. Yeah, that was my June reading wrap up. I had recorded a May reading wrap up, so I don't know if like it's even worth to post it if it's I'm posting a June reading wrap up. But if anyone is watching this and wants that, nobody's watching this. If anyone wants it, I will edit it. I will edit that May wrap up, you know? Because I had a really good reading month in May compared to this one. But yeah, that was my reading wrap up for June, New York style. But yeah, I didn't read a lot, but I'm glad I didn't completely stop reading since I moved. But yeah, that's my video. Slay. Goodbye.